This guy rubber you at your workplace and you cannot take action because this guy ada cut okie you. Hello everyone. So yes, today we're a bit slanted to the right. Well, your left. Wait. You're a bit slanted to my right, and the reason being my cat is taking up the entire space of the table and he's now licking his feet. That's why the camera's shaking. And please do not judge my tudung today. I don't really wear bawal often, but when I do wear it, I tend to not iron it. So I feel like today's story is going to be very important. I feel like everyone should listen to this story. Time ni lah dia nak garu kepala dia. Time ni dia nak garu. Kan cik kan? Turun sekarang. Assalamualaikum. Anyways, as I was saying, I feel like today's story is, very important. I know it's a long video, but if you can share it to anyone after you watch this video, please do. And if you don't want to share it to anyone or everyone, just sampaikan the message to your friends or your families, your sisters, whatever, okay? But yeah, it's going to be quite a long story, I guess. So just sit back, relax, grab snacks, cari kain nak lipat ke apa ke, cari kain buruk nak iron ke or anything, and let's get on with today's story. Hello everyone, we're back with another story. This is another one of the story submissions in my DMs. Anyways, today's story started with a girl and we're gonna call her Mid Valley. So the story begins when Mid Valley interned at this one hotel in Malaysia, and before she started interning at this hotel, she never really had any experiences being in a hotel kitchen because that's where she's interning at. So she never really had any experiences working in a hotel kitchen before, and in this hotel she's sort of like placed to be like a waiter macam tu. So she had zero knowledge and she was very eager to learn, and she learned it all on her own because literally there was no one there that was nice enough to teach her anything. So she had to figure everything out on her own. And because Mid Valley sort of worked as a waiter, one of her jobs includes, carrying dirty plates or like spoons or whatever, utensils, whatever, back to the kitchen. The sink in the kitchen. And the person who worked at the back of the kitchen at the sink, cuci pinggan, wash dishes, wash dirty plates and everything, they're called stewards. So when Mid Valley, brought all this dirty dishes, everything to steward, to the sink for him to wash, she met this guy who's the steward lah. And at that time, because Mid Valley was, new, she was the intern basically, she, started smiling, she was being polite, and they've talked before, her and the steward, but never really talked like one-on-one. They always just talked to each other in a group. And then one day, Mid Valley, she had a night shift. So during closing, there's just two person, one at the front and one at the back, and she was in charge of the back. When Mid Valley was doing her job, she was stacking plates. This guy, this steward, came towards her, but like approached her when she was facing the rack. And then this steward asked her, "Oh, are there any more guests outside?" And of course, his intentions at that time seemed innocent because he was just, starting conversations whatsoever. But he kept getting like closer and closer towards Mid Valley, and Mid Valley was not facing him. Mid Valley was facing the rack and the sink and everything. However, that feeling when you can literally feel it when someone stand very close to you, you can just feel it. So she turned around and she noticed that he's just so close to her. But at that time, she tried to think positive and maybe like, he didn't realize it or whatever. And after she turned around and faced him, she put some distance between them because she was not comfortable with how close he was to her. And then she told him that, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the front and see if like the front person need any help or whatever." And then the steward tried to stop her. The steward was like, "Oh, like just stay here, like just talk to me, like why are you rushing to go to the front?" And then obviously at that time Mid Valley felt like sort of scared because they were alone in a kitchen and the only person that's there is literally outside in the restaurant at the front. So if anything were to happen, you know. And this steward, he kept coming closer and closer towards her, and she kept putting distance between them, and then she kept saying that she needs to go to the front, and then he kept insisting for her to stay there just so that they could talk. I don't know what this guy wants to talk about. And obviously, our girl Mid Valley, she didn't give up, so she was like, yeah, no, I want to go to the front. I want to see if that person needs help or whatever, so I'm going to the front. And then this steward was like, oh, why are you being like this? Okay, fine then, just go to the front. I'm never gonna talk to you again. I'm never gonna approach you again. And then in Mid Valley's head, she was like, yeah, I don't care, man. Like, just leave me alone. You know, before this, Mid Valley heard that, you know, this steward, he already had issues with this one other worker. And this person who had, you know, this issue with this steward, she or he worked, I think it's a she, yeah, she worked during morning shift. So they never really got the chance, like Mid Valley never really got the chance to ask her, you know, what went on and what, you know, what the steward did to her or whatever. But she knew roughly that that issue started because this steward, he joked about offensive sexual stuff with this girl that worked the morning shift. So he said something that's rude or just worrisome or whatever, and this other girl got mad and they got into a fight. And the same thing happened to Mid Valley. Before, this steward made sort of like the same joke to her when they were both in the lift, and I'm guessing they were alone in that lift. And when he was about to get out of that lift, he said word for word, "Kau ni aku jolok kang." I always think that I'm quite open-minded with a lot of things and I joke about a lot of things, but I don't think a joke is funny if it involves any sort of you know, assault or like sexual innuendos or whatever. I just don't find it funny. I feel like jokes that needs sexual innuendos, they're low quality jokes. Like the person who made them, they have low IQ and they're not talented enough to do other jokes. I feel like instead of you joking about stuff that's, you know, other people might find offensive, you could always just be like, oh, kenapa cicak tak boleh naik motor? Sebab dia tak ada lesen. That's a joke. It's not a funny one, but it's a joke and it's not offensive. Might be a bit offensive to the cicak lah, but, you know, not to anyone else. But when this steward said that to Mid Valley was obviously speechless and she didn't know what to do. Because she's new, she's just an intern, so she just felt hopeless and powerless. Anyways, one day there was an event going on in that hotel, a restaurant, and so there were a lot of plates to be carried from, you know, the front to the back of the kitchen. So that's what, you know, Mid Valley was doing on that day. It was around 6 at that time and she was alone carrying all of this stuff back to, you know, the back of the kitchen, because at that time most of, you know, the people who work there, they're on break. I'm not even sure why she's not on break when everyone else were on break. You know, I hope they don't bully her. But anyways, because everyone else was on break and she's just there alone, she was alone at the back as well. When she, you know, she carried all of these plates, she brought them to the back, and then she, you know, started unloading them into the sink, and she was all alone. And then the same thing happened. The steward approached her and then he got closer to her, and she was facing the sink. She was not facing him, but she could feel that he's just getting closer and closer. And he asked her, oh, are there any more guests outside or whatever? So basically the layout of the sink is, it's like an L-shaped sink, and our girl Mid Valley is like right in the middle, like the corner of the L. You get what I mean? So yeah, basically she's there, and, you know, this steward is like approaching her and getting closer to her, and she's trapped basically. And she could literally see him, that he's like getting closer to her, like she would look back and then she would see him very, very close to her, and she didn't know what to do. Yeah, she was like rushing through these plates because she's trying to like finish them so that she could get out of the kitchen. And then this guy, he bumped his body onto her. She's facing the sink. She's unloading these dishes, and then this steward bumped his body onto her back. And then obviously Mick Valley got scared, but Mick Valley tried to think positive, and maybe he didn't mean it. Maybe it was just an accident. But then it happened again. He bumped his body onto her back again. And then obviously she got scared, and then she turned around and she scolded him. She was like, "Why are you pushing your body against mine? Like, what's going on? You do that again one more time, I'm gonna tell your dad." Because his dad, the steward's dad, also works there. And then Mick Valley turned back around to finish her task, and then she felt his hand on her bump, on her backside. And he just grabbed it. He just grabbed it. And when someone grabbed you, you can feel it. You can feel the squeeze. And Mick Valley was speechless. She was shocked. She froze. She turned to look at him, and he was just grinning. He was just grinning like it's just a silly mistake. Like he made a move on her, and he was expecting that move would make her like him. That sort of green, you know what I mean? And then she quickly finished her job, pushed him out of the way, and then walked to the front. And once she got to the front, she just started crying because she couldn't stop herself anymore, because it was traumatizing, obviously. And then once she got to the front, she saw this one another worker there, and then she went to this lady, and then straight away told this lady what went on. And then this lady right away went to the steward and then started to marah the steward, like, what's going on, why do you do that, and everything. And then this steward said that he didn't do anything. He denied everything. He was also like smashing plates into the sink because he was so frustrated. He said he was so frustrated because, these accusations, whatever, I didn't do it. Like, well, how dare you accuse me? And then this man, he also said that it's probably like a plate or like a pan or like a periuk or something. Periuk dia tak tiba-tiba raba-raba. Tak ada. This man literally stood there and said that, oh, it's probably the pot. Like, there's a pot here. It's probably that pot that, grabbed her behind. I didn't know that we had that kind of technology nowadays. And then, Mick Valley ran to the bar and then hid under the bar, and she was just crying. She was just hyperventilating. And then there was another worker who came to the bar, and then that worker saw her, and this worker is a male. And then this worker was like, hey, what's going on, what happened, and everything. And then at first Mick Valley was a bit reluctant to tell him because it's a guy, but he kept asking her what went on, what's going on, and everything. And then eventually she told him what went on, and then he was like, oh, that steward, he's not well, he's a special needs kind of guy, dia ada KACAU, dia tak betul sangat. So it's yeah, if you go to HR and report him, they really can't do anything because he's dia ada KACAU. In the meantime, her manager, Mick Valley's manager, saw her, and then saw how red her face, her eyes, everything. And then because she was crying so hard, right? And then the manager's like, hey, what's going on, what happened? And then this manager invited her into his room, and then asked her to tell him everything. And then she did. She told him everything. And then her manager was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to call the head division of the stewards, and then we're also going to call his father, the steward's father, and then we're gonna talk it out and get a solution on how we should handle this case. And then Mick Valley was brought into another room to discuss about this thing, and then she noticed that the steward is also there, and then she started crying because she's just scared. Like, obviously benda ni baru je jadi, like this literally happened like an hour or so ago. She saw him again in this meeting room with all these other men because she's the only woman in that room, so obviously she's just scared. And because she's scared, she started crying at the door. Like, she didn't even enter the room, she just started bawling right then and there. Her manager had to reassure her that everything's fine, nothing's gonna happen, she's safe there and everything. And then finally she she went into the room and then they started to discuss about things. We're gonna call the steward OU and his father Bapa OU, just so that you can understand this discussion better. So once Mid Valley sat down and the HOD for the steward started talking. The HOD said that, oh, Papa Oyuni is my childhood friend. He's literally my best friend. We used to play badminton together. We used to play football together. So we would really like to solve this in a manner that is okay for everyone. Wouldn't hurt anyone, because he's such a good friend. I would prefer it that you don't take this up to HR, because it would literally ruin OU's career, and then Bapa Oyuni would also be sad and heartbroken, whatever lah. And then Mid Valley remembered thinking, how does badminton come into this conversation? Like, why would I care that you and Bapa OU have been playing badminton, playing football, waki negara ke apa ke? I don't care. I just got assaulted and I want, justice. I don't care if y'all used to play bowling, y'all used to be married or whatever. I don't care. But she didn't say it out loud. She didn't say anything out loud because, and I understand why, she's scared. She's scared because everyone in there were men. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that they asked her to tell them again what happened and everything, and then OU was like, oh, I didn't do that, she was just lying. But every time he told her that she's lying, and every time he tried to explain his version of the story, his statements kept changing. So that's proof itself. And then Mid Valley pressured OU, and then Mid Valley was like, oh, like if you didn't do it, then why did your statements all kept changing, whatever, you must have done it, whatever. And then she kept pressuring him to the point that he admitted that he was the one who grabbed her. And then his father, OU's father, Bapa Oyuni, apologized to her, apologized so many times, but the HOD and Bapa OU too, they prefer not to bawa benda ni to HR, so they didn't. And they were pressuring her to let it die there, pressuring her not to tell anyone, not even her parents, her friends. They were asking her not to tell anyone. And obviously at that time she was lost because she's alone, she didn't have any support. And then eventually Mid Valley said to them that maybe just give me a minute, let me out of this room, and then let me think before I make any decisions. And then they still kept pressuring her to stay and just end it there, but she was firm. And then she went out of the room. And then she went and asked a female co-worker who experienced the same thing before in her old office, old workplace. And then she asked this female colleague punya opinion. And then this female co-worker said that, oh, maybe just accept their apology because this is the first time. But if he were to ever do it again in the future, then you should go and report it to HR. And Mid Valley agreed to do that, but she regretted her decision. And during that time as well, there was an event going on. So a lot of everyone was just trying to rush that incident and rush to settle it and everything. So eventually Mid Valley went back into the room and say that, oh yeah, I'm okay with forgiving him, but I need to hear him apologize to me again. And then she recorded their apologies and everything, and she inserted the recordings of his apology in here. But yeah, I can't play it to you guys. He didn't even he did apologize but the person who apologized the most was his father, Papa Oyuni. After that incident, Mid Valley never really felt safe to go to the back of the kitchen alone anymore. She always felt like she's just anxious all the time. And then she was also, Mid Valley, she was also quite close to this one chef in that kitchen, and this steward works under that chef. And this chef happens to be the head of the kitchen. And Mid Valley always thought of telling this chef everything that happened, but whenever she started to tell this chef, nothing really ever came out. Like she couldn't say anything. She was finally able to tell the chef after a month of, that happened. And obviously that chef was shocked because everything happened technically under his department, but no one said anything to him. And then Mid Valley gave this recording to this chef, and then this chef was like shocked, and then he apologized to her. He brought this to HR, and then this chef asked Mid Valley for permission whether or not he can use this recording or whatever to like give it to HR as proof. And then Mid Valley gave her permission, and then the chef discuss it with HR on what to do. And then this chef told HR to never hire this kid again, because at that time when that case came up again, Papa OU and the HOD for the stewards who were in the room, they all resigned at the same time. So yeah, when that chef, the nice one, went to HR to report this thing, all three of them resigned. So yeah, so all that he could do, all that this chef could do was basically ask HR not to hire them again. Mid Valley was thankful because then every time she go to work, she's not scared anymore. She's she's okay, she's stable. The reason why Mid Valley shared with me this story is because she wanted me to share it with you guys, of course, because she said this kind of things always happen to women, and she understands why women are always scared to tell anyone the truth about what happened. Mid Valley said that it's important that we tell the truth to a person that we can trust, a person that could take action in our behalf. She said it took her a month to finally make a proper action, a proper decision to tell this person that she trusts and she knows that could make something happen. But yeah, so she said to girls out there, please do not be like me, take a month to do it and fight for your rights immediately. In my opinion, what Mid Valley did was already great. Like, she's already so brave for doing any of the things, everything that she did in this DM. She's already very brave. I completely understand that it took her some time to tell this other person that she trusts, because it's not easy. But yeah, if any of this sort of things ever happen to you, please do not be scared to take action, and please tell it to the person that you trust and the person that can take action, because sometimes people are useless. So, but yeah, I guess that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it until here, I hope this story gave you some kind of like a lesson or whatever, and stay safe out there. So, very scary world out there. But yes, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you do like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed already. Go follow me on Instagram if you want to be my friend, and go follow me on TikTok if you want to watch short stories every Monday to Friday, because I post there. But yeah, if you guys have any other stories that you want to share with me, my DMs and my emails are always open for both men and women. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice week. See you next week. Bye bye.